Okay, somewhat wanted the game of Paulsen here. Even my YouTube reputation precedes me now. No idea. Was he a strong player? Not particularly. Bullet rating is 1097. 3 minute 1467. So it's 15 minutes 1917. Okay. Achieved his maximum achieved just yesterday. 1917. So which title players are on? Fight Club. Playing the problem bot. Okay. Oh dear, oh dear. Does he really enjoy this? Is it Queen E4? No, Queen E4, no. Too much for me in the morning. Oh dear, oh dear. Bishop D5? Just guessing. Take, no, I don't know. AlexJanOds. So stop watching that problem bot. Alright, Sicilian defense. How is he doing? Is he going to topple me? Seems to be winning a lot of his 15 minute. Okay, let's not be totally put off. What's his max on 15 minute? 1899 achieved 1st of February. That's a few days back. Dragon, or just, I don't know, Nidorf maybe. Right, if I get to play Queen C7 B5, should be a good sort of position, I hope. Queen C7 B5, Bishop B7. A little bit of counterplay on C4 stuff. That looks like an artificial move, Rook C1, not sure about that one. I seem to have a very nice position. Maybe Knight B6 to C4, try and grab the dark square bishop, threaten Knight A3, Queen C3. The other way, Knight C5, but Knight C5 looks as though E4 drops. That's interesting. Is that illusionary? E5? He plays E5 or something. If I take so Knight B6, which is better, Knight C5 or Knight B6? I think Knight B6 is interesting. Let's try and get control of D5 on take Knight D5. There's no B3, Knight C4. Oh, they could move that, Knight C4, move the Queen. So what's wrong with Knight C5 again? E5, take. He's on the bishop, take. And that's the problem. Bishop F3. Okay, what if I move the bishop out of the way first? Knight, I think they're both tempting. I don't want to lose too much time over it. Go with Knight B6. I think. There's Knight B5 here. I'll try that. Knight B6. Visually it looks sort of okay. Looks okay. If I can get Knight C4 in. be more optimistic. But what about this knight b5 take? He's on the knight. Is it going to be a total disaster? Hope not. I like the change of scenery from the French, this semi-open c file. Knight c4 takes a3 is a common sort of tactic anyway. d5, liberating, getting that kind of French defense pawn structure. e5. Well, okay, knight c4, and then knight takes b2. Knight takes b2 looks fairly tempting. You can play knight takes b5, takes knight b5, whereas knight a3, protecting b5 actually. So knight takes b5, so then queen c3. I think knight takes a3. I'll try knight takes a3. e5, there's knight d5. So a3 is also on now. Looks good already. And also e4 now is under fire. It's like a dream Sicilian c-file tactic. Just queen c4 here, getting off the queens, maintaining the pressure on e4. Okay, so pressure on e4. Pressure on a3 clearly as well. Can't take the pawn, of course. I want to take the rook anyway, keep the c file open. Otherwise takes that, but I want to just like put pressure on e4, a3, c2, the three targets here. So if e5, it might be possible for bishop f3, but it takes here. And bishop takes d1. Yes. Takes on e7. So bishop f3 is possible. Knight f3 to the knight d5. Further simplification. Knight d5 actually threatens the bishop and pawn here. So I think I'm going to go for bishop f3. So in fact, if I take this one out and get the bishop here, then that diagonal is weak. So knight d5, ed, bishop d6. I'll be on a3, f4, threatening knight e3 for bishop c5. Now, if he takes with the knight, also this pawn's a bit weak. So I think knight d5 beautiful. Here it protects that pawn for a moment. Hits the bishop on e3. Threatens rook c2. If I had taken that, then that pawn is no longer a target. Here it's a target. Well, this is just such a great simplified Sicilian defense position. Pawn up. Okay, so this pawn's a bit of a concern though here. I could take on e5, but then not have that as a target. So we'll just rook f4. That might be bishop g3. Bishop g3. So knight f4, there's ed. He takes d6. D takes, there's fe. But then in that position, or even in this position, what about rook takes c2? And if a4, there's b4. If knight d4, well, I could take on e5 first, just to make sure there's no d6 problem. I think knight takes, rook takes c2. Can't see a problem there. I'll go for that. Does mean the bishop's also on a3. I know I missed my target here, but winning another pawn on c2 clearly is quite tempting. Also, if knight takes anyway, this remains as a target, so assume f takes. Oh, his rook c2, still a target there. On f4. Okay, he's still giving me that target, so 2 pawns. With a target here and a target here. Maybe I just want to play rook c8, rook c1 now. I just exchange off a pair of rooks. Careful with my back row though, maybe g6 at some point. Like now, before doing anything else. Or maybe rook c1 first. So 2 pawns up. Control of the c file. Maybe I want to evict this knight with f6 with knight d3, so I think exchange off 1 pair of rooks. Then in fact the second pair of rooks with rook c3. I think, yeah, get rid of this first. Well, I suppose there's rook d3 with a bit of pressure. I think bishop f6 I can take, or bishop f6. What about just bishop f6 here, or even bishop a3 is possible. Or rook takes d1 first, then bishop a3, another pawn, with also the threat of rook a1. I think I'll do that. Simplify a bit more. So another pawn bites the dust. It's the reverse of yesterday, where in one game I was losing all my pawns. So I'm winning lots and lots of pawns here. But king g2. King g2. Is it a big deal? What about just b4, just using these pawns? b3, b2, rook c1 later. Three pawns up now. But it isn't over till the fat lady sings. So can't be too complacent there, so keep thinking about this. b4 is the major thing. b3, b2. I suppose king g2 is the only move to sort of avoid rook c1. Otherwise, more simplification. Well, there's knight d3, I suppose, or there isn't bishop e3, but knight d3. I can just take on f5 there if knight d3, winning and get another pawn. Actually, if he takes first, then knight d3. Well, king g2. Let's assume king g2, b4. Isn't it just game over? Looks fairly game over. Can't see really. Well, should we just review the game then? Well, opponent's thinking. So Sicilian defence and knight off, and basically, I think this was already a very pleasant position here. Two very tempting alternatives, knight c5 and knight b6. But with a3, it seems this is a juicier plan to use that outpost, knight b6. They just completely just won a pawn now straight off the bat with knight a3, not even with a counter tactic, because it's protecting b5. Probably better than knight b2, because otherwise knight b5 desperado. And so one pawn up, and getting two pawns up, getting this position we have now. So where did the opponent go wrong theoretically in the opening? It looked kind of stereotypical somehow, the moves from white, without sort of factoring in the c-file plan. I think, given rook c1, actually knight d1 to f2, it's possible that b4 is not really a problem. I think securing e4, forget that move, just bishop f3, and I think then the plan would have been like bishop f2, g3 and then e5. That plan's been used by Adams to beat, I think, Topolov once, but not wasting time, I think, with rook c1. So just aiming to sort of get f5 in later, use this f file. That looks wrong, that rook c1. Okay. What else can we say about this? So this is a common tactic. I'm sure most of you have seen this tactic, knight takes a3, to use that c file in the Sicilian, but here it does seem to have a big advantage over knight b2. So knight b5. Not much else to really say. This is a very long think, isn't it? So what's the old rating history after this if I did win this game? I know the fat lady hasn't sung yet, but oh dear, I seem to have lost connection. Oh no. I lost connection. Oh dear, oh dear. Connection time out. some users make B3 some networking hardware is replaced. Fantastic. I was just about to beat my rating peak. I thought the opponent was spending a long time. Some networking hardware is replaced. That's just brilliant. Okay, now for the record, yeah, I was close to beating my maximum rating. I think I'm going to upload this anyway. Moral win, okay. Oh, great. That's just great. That's just wonderful. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks so much.